I'm just baking a cake. I found this sweet recipe on the internet. This extra flour will make the cake even more delicious. This cake is really dry, but I followed the recipe. I thought I could improvise the recipe by adding in more flour, but it just made the cake worse. Jenna, it's important to be quantitatively accurate, or else there could be negative consequences. Now I have to bake another cake.
Quantitative accuracy can be defined as the careful measurement of a property that allows for a considerable number of significant figures to be reported with a high degree of certainty.
It was the biggest oil spill and one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history.
In the Indian city of Bhopal, a cloud of toxic gas leaked from a pesticide factory.
The government calculated 206 million gallons.
The first stage of BP's operation to permanently seal the leaking oil well in the Gulf of Mexico.
What began as an industrial accident hundreds of miles away could have such an impact on us.
Now, it was the worst industrial disaster in history.
Well, hello there. Industrial chemical accidents are sudden, unexpected, and sometimes a result of quantitative inaccuracy. Let's take a look at the most devastating industrial accident in history. The Bhopal tragedy.
The first incident took place in Bhopal, the capital city of the state of Madhya Pradesh in India. On December 2, 1984, water entered a storage tank containing methanol isocyanate at a fertilizer plant. 40 tons of methanol isocyanate reacted with runaway water in a faulty storage tank. This reaction resulted in a rapid increase in temperature, spewing high concentrations of chloroform. This highly toxic liquid, in vapor form, escaped the plant and migrated to the surrounding populated areas of Bhopal. Early studies conducted 8 days after exposure to MIC revealed that those affected by the gas leak reported severe eye burning, watering, pain, redness, sensitivity to light, and eye swelling. The main long-term issue in the region is contaminated drinking water. The contaminants are mainly toxic chemicals such as high concentrations of metals, like iron, cadmium, mercury, and lead. The contamination is not only due to Bhopal's gas leak, but also to Union Carbide's improper treatment of the metals. As a result of the contamination, the water in Bhopal is unsafe for drinking. Although the water is labeled unfit for drinking, Bhopal residents still consume the contaminated water. In addition to water testing, Greenpeace Research Laboratories also perform soil testing for contamination. The only metal with high concentration was copper, which can naturally vary in nature and was unlikely due to the gas leak. Researchers concluded that the activities at Union Carbide plant, including the gas leak, did not contaminate soil. In the following days of the gas leak, the leaves on the trees near the factory yellowed and fell off the branches. In total, the gas killed 2,000 animals, mostly livestock such as goats and buffalo. The food supply in Bhopal then became scarce due to the suppliers' fear of contaminated crops in the nearby regions. Psychological problems of Bhopal survivors fell into 4 categories: post-traumatic stress disorder, psychological grief reactions, emotional reactions to physical problems, and exacerbation of pre-existing psychological problems. 1 year after the leak, a study conducted by the Indian Council for Medical Research, or ICMR, revealed that mental health problems were as high as 132.9 per 1,000 people in the affected regions. This is compared to the 200.85 per 1,000 in unaffected areas. In 1990, the rate in the affected areas were still 3 times higher than the unaffected areas. In 2003, It was stated that cancers of the lung increased up to 20% in Bhopal compared to other cities in India. However, the lessons of acute and chronic effects of exposure to pesticides in Bhopal has not changed the agricultural practices and patterns. An estimated 3 million people per year suffer the consequences of pesticide poisoning, with most exposures occurring in agricultural developing worlds such as India. It is reported to be the cause of at least 22,000 deaths in India each year. In the state of Kerala, significant mortality and morbidity have been reported following exposure to other toxic pesticides whose use continued for 15 years after the events occurring in Bhopal.
Look, there's oil leaking from the bottom of your car. What if that reaches the soil on your lawn? Won't that be harmful?
Why, yes, it would. Did you know that in 2010, 210 million tons of crude oil leaked into the Gulf of Mexico, making it the most devastating oil spill in all of U.S. history?
The Deepwater Horizon oil spill occurred at a BP oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico on April 20, 2010. With over 200 million gallons of crude oil leaking into the Gulf over a span of 89 days, it was the worst spill in all of U.S. history. It has been determined that the main cause of the spill was faulty cement. The cement at the bottom of the rig did not create a seal, and oil and gas leaked into the pipe that led to the surface. Other factors, such as valve failures, a faulty gas alarm, misinterpreted pressure tests, and crew negligence also heightened the magnification of the spill. The fire that occurred due to the explosion on the rig burned for 36 hours before the rig sank. 11 crew members were killed and 17 were injured. Since oil is hydrophobic, most of it floated to the surface of the Gulf, invading many ecosystems within the water and along coastal regions. Over 1.4 gallons of chemical dispersants were released into the water in an attempt to clean up the oil. Both the oil and the dispersants had significant negative environmental effects. In the 6 months after the spill, over 8,000 birds, sea turtles, and marine mammals were found injured or dead. Immediate effects on animal life were oil on birds' feathers, internal bleeding in mammals as they ingested the oil, sea turtles coated in oil, and dying deep-sea corals, which were home to a wide range of marine life. Since the spill occurred in 2010, all of the long-term environmental effects are still unknown. A study done in Baratia Bay revealed that approximately half of the dolphins were extremely ill due to the heavily oiled area.
1,000 feet down, what should look like a forest is a desert. Fish, crabs, even sea cucumbers normally thrive here, and on this moonscape, millions of dead worms.
The oil also destroyed large amounts of egg and larval organisms. This means that in the near future, huge population dips will be noticeable, greatly impacting the food chain of those ecosystems.
You might be wondering how all of this relates to your SPH 3U111 University course.
In both the Bhopal and Deepwater Horizon oil spill, workers neglected safety protocols or did not make use of all the safety equipment available to them. If those protocols had been exercised, the disasters may have been avoided completely, or at least would have been minimized the negative effects on the environment. Following safety procedures is something that should be exercised in the classroom as well as the workplace. In the introduction of this course, we learned about the importance of safety materials and the WMIS.
As shown in the incidents mentioned, being accurate is of the utmost importance. One inaccuracy early on could create a ripple effect that leads to an undesired product. For instance, we were taught not to round any calculations until the end of a problem in order to maintain quantitative accuracy. When big industrial companies cut corners in order to save money or time, the result was inaccurate, which led to catastrophic incidents in the industrial world.
Look, Zac Efron! Where?
Whoa!
Woo-hee, mama! I understand the importance of quantitative accuracy now. sugar.